because now I'm recording. What's up, loungers? How are you doing? Me? Yeah, I'm all right. Um, Today, we've got something special happening, I guess, maybe, which is I'm talking to somebody who has been working for some time over in Japan, a Westerner who's spent a long time working in Japan, um, and somebody who, like with most people in our community here, has some mental health issues. And so it's been fascinating chatting to them. They're an old friend, just getting like back in touch anyway, but just also learning about the hell that has been working within corporate Japan. Something that I think every little weeb kid like myself grows up absolutely dreaming about. And it's been something quite different. So yeah, I suppose if you were there, we are technically on a call right now, but he said to me one sec, but if they are there, if you'd like to give us a name to call you by, and then we will go.
All right. Yeah, you can just go with Andy, I guess.
Cool. Fair enough then.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy. Cool. So this is Andy. Where to begin? I can't quite remember where we began talking the other day that got us saying, right, we need to get this on the stream. But there were just so many things that we talked about the other day where I was like, holy shit. Um, so I mean, if you want to like introduce yourself a little, like maybe give everyone a little background, like how long you've been over in Japan, that sort of thing.
Sure, right. So yeah, I've been here since basically like 2 weeks out of graduation. So like 7 years now. Originally I was working in video, and then this year I decided to take a bit of a break from that after some bullshit regarding my mental health at the last company. And I was working in translation at Sega, and that's kind of no longer happening. And now I'm kind of looking to go back into doing video production, but I'm not looking forward to doing it. But yeah,
Okay.
I just need the visa.
Okay. So where should we begin? What had you been doing in terms of video production then? Because like 7 years is ages, man. That's a huge time.
I mean, yeah. So like the first real foray into it was I started working for like a venture back in like 2016, and it was a fucking shit show with a guy who I think also was like a little bit unstable, but he didn't really want to admit it. And it was also kind of a bit of a sociopath. And
Okay.
what they were doing was they were more or less just like scamming big corporations into paying them money to make video, like to make like a, how can I say? Basically, they were like traveling salesmen for large corporations.
Okay.
And like, I mean, we made a video for, I think it was like a subsidiary of Shell, one of those companies, and the finished product was fucking terrible. And like they paid like $30,000 for this fucking video, and I was like, yeah, I'm not putting my name on that. So I mean, I wasn't trying to actively like, no, I was, obviously putting in like the best work I could, but like the guys that were running it were just like, yeah, we can just reshoot that on an iPhone, can't we? And it was just like, no, that's not how that works.
Okay. Fun times.
But yeah, so I did that for like a year, and then I worked at so I had a bit of a background. Like I was like dating someone for like 4 years who was like super like abusive physically and mentally, and basically because of them, like I was forced to get a job in like kind of IT, but like revolving around video.
Okay.
But I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, I think also like part of me getting hired was like part of the scheme that the guy that like was the manager and the not the HR guy, the recruitment guy, like had going, because like both of them would get paid if they got someone in the company. So I was put into this position I was like obviously like not fucking suited for. Lasted there for 6 months and then got fired. And just
know
like
that
the whole
feel.
time, yeah, awfully like just fucking really depressed halfway through, and just like then just getting blamed at the end. Like I was also being treated by like shit by like one person who was like actually like working under me, and then like even then I was like trying to tell my boss like, hey, this person's like kind of being abusive, and like they're deleting my work and therefore your work. So can you say
Jesus
something? And
Christ.
his response to that was no, they're not.
Oh
And
my
it's just
God.
like yeah they are. And I have like fucking like 14 people. Like I had to have like a bunch of people, like two teams individually like approached him twice to be like, hey, you need to say something. And he was like, oh yeah, all right, I'll have a word. Um, which means fuck all really. So I was there
Great
for 6
times.
months, and then I was working at a very large American company, which you probably all use every day.
Okay.
Yeah,
something
but
something that like might make people ogle slightly, perhaps.
yes,
Mm.
yes. I think one of them, you used to broadcast yourself apparently.
I
But
see
most what
that
that
type.
means is kind of, I mean, considering most of the people I met there are just fucking like, it's the worst. I mean, the actual like employees weren't that bad, but like the people meeting people in that job, because it was a studio aimed for people who use their service, which revolves around video. Uh, if I couldn't be any more blatant, but yeah, you meet kind of like the worst kind of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was there for 3 years, and then yeah, then I was at
Okay.
Sega, and then
So that was the
but
one that that was the one before Sega that we were talking about, that was like the definition of corporate machinations and like dogpiling. Am I right? That was the dogpiling one.
yeah, I mean they did like illegal shit regarding like my mental health, and like I mean like I nearly fucking died of like an overdose like while I was there. I just
Are
like
you happy going into that story again?
yeah sure, like I can go into it. I mean if it doesn't
Yeah.
bother anyone else, but
No,
yeah,
no.
like
It blew my mind,
so I
this one
mean
as well. Like I you know, we talk a lot about mental health here in the UK and in America and stuff. Like we have a very Western perspective of it, and like it's shit here, but then this was like a different layer of shit. It was like more festering, more stinky shit.
so what was it? I took that job back in November of like 2017, and I mean it was alright for like the first like year or so. It was cool. And like, I mean, the guy that like was like my senior, it's like Italian guide, was a fucking dickhead, and just really like trying to like. He's like one of like, you know, people who kind of like wear one brand and one brand exclusively tend to be cunts.
Yep.
He's like one of those people. He'd wear like exclusively like Under Armour. Like everything he wore was like Under Armour, and he was balding really bad, but trying to hide it.
Oh, he wanted to be the Rock. He was just obsessed with the
Yeah,
Rock and trying to be the Rock. I see. I
but
understand.
he was like 5 foot, so like it didn't really work. And I can't talk because I'm short as fuck as well. So, but so like I mean, having to deal with his bullshit, it's like okay, yeah, whatever. And then the really toxic relationship I had ended, and it was just kind of the whole thing really fucked with me, because that person like basically ended up stealing a bunch of fucking money from me, and just obviously wasn't like in the happiest of places.
Plus,
After that finished.
they were resident Japanese and had their family getting involved too, didn't they? And stuff. I seem to remember from many a year
Yeah,
ago.
they like
Every
they
advantage
fucking
for them, basically, legally speaking.
yeah, like they lived down the like, so the place that we moved in together like was literally like a 5 minute walk from her parents' house. So she's like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm just like, oh fuck, like okay, you can just walk home. Like I have to fucking stay in this country. Like I don't even like, I know some people that don't have any like actual fucking family here.
You're the
But
one person I know who doesn't have white privilege.
I think I do. We can get into that later on. Like I think what like
Oh, it's still
if
even
I was
worse
like
being like black or brown.
if I was black, or if I was like any other form of Asian, I think I'd be even like worse off. But
Play. Wow. That's a big admit. Fair play. Damn. Take that, right wingers.
But yeah, fuck. Like yeah, from that point on, it just all went fucking down. Like that year, like 2018, like just mental health, like just fucking. I mean, it was already bad up until that point, but I just didn't realize. Like,
Yeah.
things
You've
are
been
fucking
bottling.
terrible. Yeah, and like just never really having like. Even like, I mean, I've spent like last few years like looking at my own behavior like in the past and just being like, wow, I was like really, really unhealthy and I probably should have been in like actual serious therapy. But you know, like every attempt to talk to like get some help has always been very like half-hearted, or like the person I've spoken to is not really knowing what they're talking about.
Yeah,
So nothing.
it's two sides of a coin. It's literally either you approach these things like with all your heart and willpower, and then you get greeted by the shittest counselor on earth who tells you about the energy you have inside you or something, or you have no willingness to engage and you're just doing it because you think you have to or whatever, and there's a part of you that doesn't even want to bother listening to them, and that's when you'll actually get a good one. It's like,
yeah,
it's very rare the two shall mix correctly.
I mean, like the last like therapist I had here, I think it must have been like 2016. Some like lady from Chicago, and she was like the last session I had with her. She was like, I forget like what I was getting into, but she was like telling me like, you need to forgive the like your inner child. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm pretty chill with my inner child, and like, it's like my adult self I have issues with. Like,
I hate that shit because we hear that sort of shit so often, and it's like that stuff is finally starting to make sense to me, but it's only through like literally hundreds of hours of conversations with this sort of stuff with other people, and it's like no therapist ever is going to be able to connect you individually one-on-one in like a small enough period of time for any of these grand metaphors to make sense. It's just
yeah,
they all need to quit.
Because I literally, yeah, I remember like just like walking out of that situation, just being like, the fuck, like,
yeah.
That makes zero sense.
Who? What?
Yeah.
Help me with my drinking problem, please.
Yeah. Exactly. And then like she fucking like she had like a mental breakdown herself and like went back to the States like I think like a month after that. And I was just like, oh, okay. But yeah, fucking just that whole year was just a fucking shit show. I mean, like it was cool because went into like a really big manic phase, lost a bunch of weight, and did a bunch of cool shit, and so yeah, got to see a bunch of cool shit. But like, yeah, in the same year, like a friend of mine got like framed for fucking like drug smuggling over here. Someone sent him like 400 grams of meth in the post.
Oh Jesus!
And so yeah, and so like he went down for like 6 months, and like the scary thing is like the night before he got like picked up, like we may or may have not have smoked a jazz cigarette. So we like I was literally just like, oh fuck, like someone saw us
out to shit. Yeah.
So I spent like a month like sleeping on people's floors and shit, like thinking like, man, if I'm in my house, like the police are gonna come arrest me. And it just like that really fucked with me at work and shit. So like I mean just slowly like all these problems like fucking just like mounting on each other, and like as well at the same time we had this like new guy who joined who was like he wasn't like a neo-Nazi, but like he did say some pretty fucked up things about race. Like this half Japanese, half American guy from like California.
Okay.
And he like I remember one time he just like randomly turned to me and he was just like, yeah, we should just kill old and disabled people because it's like too much of a drain on the economy. I was just like, hey man, like the Nazis had that idea like
eugenics,
70 years ago. Yeah, it's like that's like I said to him like, yeah, that's eugenics, and he's just like, no, it's not, and it's like, yeah, it is.
That's literally eugenics.
Right.
Yeah, what the fuck, bro? What?
So I had to deal with him. I had to deal with that one dude for fucking when was it? Until like the next year. But carry on to the next year, and then like just basically this random bullshit keeps on happening, and then like one day like so I had like we got like some more like new people in. And one of them was pretty cool with, but he was like really homophobic, like violently homophobic. And so like I mean when I met him I thought he was gay because he dressed like he's like what they call like quite metrosexual.
Right. Yeah. Hip, cool,
And
but yeah.
so the first day I hung out, like I know I have work with him. I was like, "Oh, do you want to go get a beer?" And he's like, "Yeah, all right." And then we go to the pub, and then like he's just like the first thing he says to me, we sit down like with a pint. He's like, "I fucking hate gay people." I'm just like, "Oh fuck," like.
Just throwing it out there, he's like, because he knows he's got a bit of a vibe to him or something. He's got a bit of a look, so he's just like acting defensive off the bat. Just like he's there having like lunch with another male, so he's like, "Oh, gotta get out there, fucking hate gay people." Literally, mate, that's literally just like every like repressed chavvy git at school. That just secretly wish they could have a little bit of bum in their lives. They just don't know how to say it. God almighty.
It's literally just like, fellas, is it gay to breathe the same oxygen as another man? So fast forward like a few months after dealing with him, and like, because we had like, because it was with a big American company which supposedly supports gay rights and trans rights. Like, we even had like a few like we had like a pride event, and like I was like sat in the. I hadn't like come out to these people yet. I mean, I wasn't planning on going to, but I got like really drunk one day.
They're involved in like one of Japan's first ever like proper pride events, organized by homophobes.
And so like,
yeah, we were literally like, when we talk about like these cis white companies or whatever using fucking the pride shit to like push their capitalist agenda. It's true. It's like not even remotely a joke.
I mean, like the most of the people like at Google, like who are like on the Western side, are actually pretty.
Oh, no, you just named dropped.
To the company. Whoops. But I mean, most of the people there like are actually pretty chill. But it's just like the people, like the local vendors, like especially just on the Japanese side, is like really fucking homophobic. But I mean, like we had this like one Pride event, and I was in the control room. These two guys, because there's another guy as well, and they were just like, "Yeah, fucking trannies. Oh, I fucking hate them." It's just like, guys, just like shut the fuck up. Like, life's too short to like even give a shit about someone else's sexuality. Like, why is it your problem?
Literally, exactly. Yes.
And so, fast forward a few months, and like I tell this because I thought I could trust him, even though like it's me being a fucking idiot. I was like, "Hey man, some bad shit has happened, and I think I might have contracted like HIV. Like, kind of need to talk to someone about this. Like, let's grab a cigarette." And so like, he's like, "All right, man, like don't tell anyone about this."
You'd been what, like having a bit of the old, unprotected sexual intercourse as had the.
Pretty much, yeah.
Naughty man.
And over here as well, it's just like a lot of people like don't. Some people like over here like don't know they have it. Like they just like don't think it as of a disease that deaf people can get.
Yeah, you explained this to me. Tell me a bit more about this again. Like just Japan and their weird view on AIDS. Like,
so I think I think it can be viewed in like the same way like people view like how they view Corona. It's just like, oh well, no, like Japanese people can't get it. It's a foreigner's disease. I mean, like obviously, like that's not ever
the
like
same way we saw it during like the 80s and 90s, where it's like, oh, white people can't get it, it's a black disease, and then it was like, yeah, it's a gay disease and a black disease. They still see it that way.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But I mean, like luckily, I mean it really depends on the gay people you talk to. Like the gay people I know who are like in the 30s now who are Japanese are fairly like wised up to it and like. Are like, no, yeah, it's fucking real. But the people I know, like the young, it's typically the reason why I didn't really hook up with like Japanese men like that are my age, because like they are just like, what was it? I hooked with one guy like 3 years ago. I was like, when was the last time you got tested? And he was like, oh, like a year ago. Jeez. He's like, yeah, but I'm sure it's okay. I'm just like, it's not really how that works, dude.
You can't just be like, I think it's okay. I hope. I'm sure.
Yeah. And yeah, fuck. Like, just people just tend to be ignorant with that shit because it just doesn't seem like they just see it as something coming from overseas, and therefore it's like it's nothing to do with us. And people love to put their head in the sand in this country. I mean, it's not just that's not just applicable to just Japan, but people love to remain ignorant. So yeah,
it's
so
very
basically, like, I tell
different
this
to our
person,
view, though, of how they're, the wise Japanese and blah blah. We have this very sort of fairy tale view, I think, of Japan in our heads here in the West. Very.
no, I think Japan's soft power propaganda is extremely strong, and that's basically how they in the 90s. That's basically how like Japan kind of like reformed
Media
themselves. Is that
tourism sort of thing.
yeah.
It's like they do pre-tourism through their anime and toys and everything, don't they? And tech.
Yeah, I mean it's just like, okay, forget about the war, forget about everything else that we did. I guess that's what we did as well in like the early 2000s with Cool Britannia, and Germany as well. But yeah, it's it's just I mean, it's like any country. Like most people, like most normal people, don't know what the fuck they're doing really, and they're just thrown into the fucking gauntlet of human experience. So, but yeah, like what is it with that person from work? Like, I mean, I told him, and I thought I could tell him in confidence. I don't know why the fuck I did, but I did. And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it, man. It's okay. It's okay. Like, it's all right. But just don't tell anyone. Like, let's just keep this between us." I'm like, "All right, cool." And then like a week goes past, and like this other coworker I have comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, Andy, that like that story like you told like that guy was really fucking funny." I'm just like,
Oh,
what are you talking
God.
about? And I was like, I looked at him, I was like,
thing
yo,
that I'm
did you?
terrified and traumatized about, but also what are you talking about? You shouldn't know this.
Yeah, so I turned to him and I was like, yo, did you fucking tell him? And he was just like, oh man, like it was too funny not to. I had to. I'm sorry.
Funny.
And like, I was just like, I just stood up and said like, all right, fuck you, like, you guys are cunts. I'm out of here. Bye. I'm not coming back till next week. I just left, and then
Imagine literally like, I'm scared I've got AIDS. Oh, that's funny. Like, Jesus,
so
bro.
like,
That's shit, man. Fuck that guy, literally.
so like the thing that's fucked is like, so I got in trouble because like I basically told him to fuck off. And
Because
and
you
then like my company,
exploded at work. Obviously, you had a big public explosion at work. You were the one acting shameful, I suppose. And isn't he also like your subordinate technically still at that point or something? Or was he a subordinate or just more junior to you
so
at
he
least?
he was more junior, I think, at that point. He was old. He was actually older than me, but he was in the company. And like I've been there longer than he was. But the thing is, because he was Japanese, I think he is still technically pulled ranker than me.
Yeah.
But so like I get like a text, I think the day after, saying like, hey, you need to come into the main office and we need to have a chat. And I'm like, all right, cool, here it comes. And then they were like, yeah, we want you to like take time off for like your mental health, blah blah, because we care about you. It's fucking bullshit. So you need to go to this. You need to go to see this doctor, and you're going to take like a few months off, but you can't come back and work. And you need to hand in like your laptop. I'm like, okay.
Hand in your badge and your gun.
Yeah, pretty much. And so basically, like, they sent me to this fucking mental hospital, which luckily was at the time was like close to where I lived. And the doctor, I mean, like, going there, your appointment's at like 3:00, and then you end up getting seen at fucking like 4. Or not 4, like I'm getting seen at like 5:30. Just fucking ridiculous wait times, and then
I
like,
thought Japan was famous for their punctuality and get an apology if anything's late. And
I mean, when you're, how that works is like when you're like on the serving side, then yeah, then you have to apologize. But when it's like when you're on the receiving side, you can go, basically you get told to go fuck yourself. Really, that's it. And so like, I mean, after waiting like, every time going, they have to wait like 2.5 hours. Each time we go see this guy. Well, he tells me, he's like, oh yeah, your life's kind of fucked, I guess. Here's some medication. Have fun. Don't take too much. See you later. And so it's not really counseling. It's literally just the doctor's like standing off my prescription. It's like, all right, here's sleep. Because he said to me like, oh yeah, you don't actually have depression. You just have like depressive disorder. Or like, oh no, you're not
What?
actually bipolar. You just have depressive disorder. So you just need to sleep. And I'm just like, okay, well, why do I need to
Right.
fucking sleep for 3 months? So did that for
Just sleep
like
for
3-4
months.
months.
Jesus Christ. What pills did they have you on?
Yeah. In the end, so after that, because I did this whole period twice. In the end, they put me on Davigo, but they put me on before that. They put me on I can't remember another type of sleeping pill, but it was really really bad. And like I never had sleep paralysis before I actually took that, but it fucked me up when I was
Yep.
taking them. It just turned me into a fucking zombie.
I've had sleep paralysis from maybe 2 of the meds I've ever taken, and it's horrible. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's like actually scary shit.
I had to start sleeping face down, so like even if I like started like getting it, I wouldn't like have any fucked up like hallucinations around my face. Yeah, I think the first time I had it, I had like the kid from like The Grudge like sitting next to me, like standing next to me by my bed, and I was like, oh cool, because I knew what it was. I was like, all right, it's sleep paralysis, but it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
But like so that whole experience lasted like 3-4 months, and like the thing is though, because you're like technically on sick leave, you don't get paid actual wages, you get paid insurance money. And the thing is, for the insurance money to kick in, like it takes like a month, like so like since from when you start it. So basically you got like a month without pay, and then you get paid like 60% of your actual salary.
Jesus.
And my salary like wasn't very high at that time either way.
So you wait. So also, do they not give you your? So they don't give you your last month's pay that you should be getting because you're starting insurance pay, but then your insurance pay doesn't kick in for a month. Doesn't your insurance pay doesn't pay for in advance? Your insurance pays for what you've done after, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, because I remember because I had this happen twice, and I basically had like a very long shouting match with the people at HR at my old company on the phone, just being like, why, like, how the fuck do you expect me to live without like a month's pay? Like, you guys are literally keeping me like tethered to the company, like paycheck to paycheck.
And you only get insurance pay because you're choosing to pay for insurance out of your wages, right? That's not the standard Japanese national insurance sort of system, is it? You're talking about there, or is that?
No, yeah, it comes out the company insurance comes out of your wages. And even if you go into the national, I mean, it's in the form of even if you go on the national healthcare system, it still comes out of your taxes. So basically, you are paying for it, regardless. Because they stop paying you, and then like you have to have a month complete of doing the taking time off to prove to them that you've taken time off. You basically go like a month without anything. So I did a month of that, and then I was like, all right, fuck, well, I'm screwed, and had to start working like night jobs at like a friend's like bar every night in Shibuya for like 3 months, and that really fucked me up. And they're like, Andy, like, we know you're an alcoholic, so you can drink for free. I'm like, thank you very much.
So it's like legally you're not allowed to be working right now, but the pay isn't good enough because it's only 60% of what you're meant to be getting where you live, which is fucking Shibuya, which ain't cheap. And then, so because of that, you've still got to actually work whilst you're meant to be using this time off to get better because of the intense homophobic bullying you've received at work. Just to like recap events for people, you know.
Pretty much, yeah. So
is that a good nutshell there, you know?
Yeah, like I mean, like, so that's the thing. Like, I wanted because I like when they told me like, okay, this because I was completely fucking ignorant going to this and like completely naive, and I was like, oh, okay, that'd be nice having 3 months of work, and then thinking I was getting like a sweet deal, and they're like, well, actually, your pay is going to be reduced, and it's not being paid by us; it's being paid by the government, and it comes in quite late. And I was like, fuck, well, like, how am I going to afford to like keep up with my bills? And I like, I have like debt and shit, and my rent's kind of high. and so I had to fucking pick a night job. Yeah, if I had to pick a fucking night job, just like working in a bar and just getting trashed every night, like, for 3 months. It was fucking rough. And so the time I was supposed to actually be getting better, I couldn't. I like when I finally went back to work, I was fucking shattered, and like they put me in like a new role, and they paid me like a little bit more than I was getting, but not much, maybe like 100 quid extra than I was getting. But I was like, my responsibility was like huge, like because it was like they were opening up like a new studio, and like they wanted someone basically to fucking run it.
Welcome back from your 3 months off forced mental health break to get better because of how sick this job had made you. Here's more money, but also 10 times more work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Here's like a little pence more money and then a fuckload more work. Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're very concerned about your mental health. I can tell clearly at this point still.
So that job began, and the person running it, I mean, she like it was very very weird because like she would confide in me in being like mentally unwell herself and saying like, oh, I have depression, I'm on this medication, blah 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 blah. But then like she would also kind of make fun of me for being depressed, and like this continued after everything became remote. And like for example,
is it maybe more allowed for women to have mental health conditions in Japan, where it's still just becoming allowed for them to work? Maybe they're allowed to be unwell in the male gaze. It's like
typically no, but because she came from basically she was like working at like the biggest was it? There's like a lot of conglomerate companies in Japan, like Mitsubishi and like Sumitomo. She came from one of those. Like,
okay.
I think it was for not architecture, real estate. Yeah, she basically came from like one of the biggest like real estate companies in Japan, and was quite high up in that company. And so I think she already came into the company like as quite as a like high-ranking person. And so because she was like a manager, they like, and I think she wasn't telling anyone else. I think she was just venting to me. She wasn't telling like the people on the Japanese side at all.
It's because you were a Westerner. I see. Because you were a Westerner. She was like, I could talk to him about the mental health things because he's got mental health things. I could talk to him, but still being a bit insensitive at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
And
so like that job was just like, I mean, because she was, I mean, like I understand because I've been there, but like she was, herself just like too unstable. I remember one time, like, because we had to like write this like this fucking what was it, terms of service for this like this studio. And I was saying to her like, because we had an event where basically we had a day where we had like events running like the whole day, and we had like no time for lunch or dinner. And I was saying to her like, hey, all of us will work, like we will have like a physical job, but like literally running around the space, and we need to eat. Can we please make it a rule just like to like if like okay if there's an event during lunch or there's an event during dinner, can we make it so like we like have like at least 30 minutes to go get something to eat?
Yeah.
And she ran. This is like maybe like 10 minutes, not 10 minutes. This is like this is like a minute before the like next event is about to start. So we're like literally counting down like from 10 seconds, and I was like operating this camera. She literally comes down to the controller and starts screaming at me like, "How fucking dare you! I'm trying really fucking hard." I'm just like, "What the fuck is your problem?" And
wait, because you've asked for an opportunity to eat.
Yeah, like because I said to her like hey, like we need to have time off like to get food, and she then like spread it. Basically, she like said to them like, "Oh no, he told me to bring lunch for everyone." I'm just like, "No, I fucking didn't." Like, so I think she was a bit. Yeah, I mean, there's having mental health issues, and then there's also just being like,
manipulative and cruel.
Like, yeah, pretty much
Lashing out and then using your position to throw things in your advantage.
Yeah, pretty much. And so, just shit like that would continue. so then everything became online because of Corona, and so we did that. I think it was up until September. I was there, yeah. And I mean, up until I think July, I was okay. Like I was like being pretty like physically active and just like trying to like take care of myself. But then I just fucking one day I just snapped and started fucking drinking again. And I just eventually like in September I had like a week of paid leave and I was like, hey, I'm really not well. I want to go and just set up like something to do with like a therapist or just a doctor just basically just like to prevent me from like stealing time from the group. I will use all my paid leave. It's fine. I just don't want to cause like any. I don't want to throw like a spanner into the works unnecessarily. Like, is that okay? And they're like, well, no, because you can't get better. Yeah, they were like, oh, well, no, because you can't get better within a week. And I was like, well, I never said I was going to be able to get better in a week. I just want to have the time to at least put like the framework in so I can like, I'm not completely fucked. And they're like, well, no, you need to take time off again. I was like, well, I'm really not that sick. I'm just like, I just can't really sleep, and I have a fucking like my fucking drinking problems come back.
So,
so
who in Japan in an office doesn't have a drinking problem? I swear to God.
Yeah, exactly.
What, like...
So they put me on this fucking leave again, like this bullshit leave, because it is. Then I realized the problem, like at that point, it's like, oh, they're not trying to help me; they're trying to punish me. Okay, I see. For nothing, for being mentally ill.
Because they didn't want to fire you, did they?
So that's the thing in Japan. If you are,
let's explain.
If you are what they call,
what's the difference between quitting and firing in Japan? Because this shocked me.
So if you're what they call seishain, which is like basically like a, how can I say, basically like a full-time employee, that they've like directly hired, they more or less can't fire you. They can, technically they can, but it's very, very difficult. It's very tricky and it costs like a lot of money. And like if they do, like they have to pay you like 2 months salary in advance of you quitting. And it also leaves the door open for you to be able to sue them for more money. So basically, like they
someone.
Yeah,
it's it's literally the reverse of everywhere else. It's so weird.
But you think so? The way that the labor law is written, you think that would protect people like like me in vulnerable positions. But unfortunately, like how laws work, especially with labor laws in Japan, like they never amend them. So if there's any kind of like loophole, they never get fixed. And unfortunately, like what's allowed for is large corporations to come in and basically just poke huge loopholes in these laws. And what that means is they've basically gone like, well, there's no law that prevents us from torturing workers into the like mentally torturing them to the point where they just quit on their own behalf. And when they quit on their own accord, we had to pay them fucking anything. So, which is basically what they try to do with me. And I guess kind of what they did.
Too surreal. Too surreal.
I mean, they fucking eventually like did successfully. But yeah, like so. Going back to the leave, I went to the doctor and I was like, "Yep, like what's up?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, well, hey, good to see you again." And I was kind of like, "Yeah, I don't need to fucking be here." And he was like, "What's wrong?" And I told him the story, and he was like, "Yeah, that's bullshit. Like you shouldn't fucking be here." And he was actually like, even though he was bad at his job, he was quite cool. And he was just like, "Yeah, like I'm just gonna give you like." Because the doctor has to write you a note saying like what he thinks the correct method of action should be.
Okay.
And so he was just like, okay, I'm going to give you 3 months, not 3 months. I'm going to give you 3 weeks off of work. Just chill, just have fun. Like don't fuck, like it's bullshit. Like you don't need to be taking this time. Like just reduce the amount you drink and just
you don't need 3 months though. Sleep. You just need like just a few weeks just to reset.
Like yeah, so I do the 3 weeks and I kind of go back with like a shit-eating grin on my face and like go to the main office and hand in this letter from the doctor, basically just says like go fuck yourself on it. And like they're like, oh, we see, okay. And then like so actually just a bit of a side note as well, like in Japan, if you take the health leave, like the sickness leave more than 2 times, you automatically get dismissed
Okay.
from that position. So that's also, so you can't get sick more than twice.
So at that point,
and
it's not a firing. You just get automatically dismissed from like any company if you're sick 3 times.
Yeah. So like, and that's like, that's
wow,
not even.
I'd have been fired from every job I've ever had in the UK.
It's not even a. I mean, the thing that's fucked is like, it's not even like a mental health thing. It's even like any kind of physical ailment you may have that's like serious and prevents you from working. Yeah.
Shit.
So after doing that, they pull me aside and they were like, "Fuck, we didn't think you'd be okay. Like, we didn't think they would say that." So they come up with this bullshit clause. Basically, they rewrite my contract, and they were like, "Actually, we want you to." And the thing that's fucked as well is like, so I come back after that, and like, then they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not going to get paid in December because of like you taking time off." And then like the insurance money kicking in. So I was like, "Oh fuck, okay." But they tell me like, "Okay, well, now when you start working again, like we're going to cut your pay to basically like almost like half of what it was, and and you're basically just going to work in the like the Shibuya office, like cleaning, like basically like cleaning the toilets and cleaning the office all day, and that's you." And I was like, "All right."
Thanks.
So and the thing is, so like they made me sign like the legal document, but then they brought in this own document that which I think hasn't been submitted anywhere because it's like fairly illegal from what I could like what I could tell, and it was basically saying like, I promise to like, you know, show up, never be late to work, and like never complain at work, and like promise to go and medicate like mental, you know, like I'm basically on fucking psych beds, and like they made me sign this very very weird like cult like statement. I should try and see if I have a copy of it somewhere.
That could be cool.
It's fucking, it was awful. And then yeah, so for the next from December till fucking April, my boss, like, because I was quite cool with one of the other bosses, he was all right, but he was just like, "Oh, don't worry about it, it's just been a month, like it's not a big deal, like it just happens sometimes, like it's just fine, just show us that you actually give a shit, and then like you might be able to go back to your actual position." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then like I actually tried quite hard, and that continued for fucking yeah, I mean it continued for fucking 4 months, and then yeah, like even halfway through, yeah, in December they told me like, "Yeah, we're not going to pay you." I was like, "Right, well I'm going to take all my medication," and then ended up not dying, but
which I'm glad
got quite
about.
close to it. It was fucking, it was scary. And I really should have fucking just told them like, "Hey, I nearly died, by the way." But yeah, like basically like it got towards like the end of March, and I was like talking to my boss, and I was like, "I thought you said this is gonna be a month. It's been like 3.5 full months." And he's like, "Yeah, it should just be another month." I'm just like, "You fucking said that last month." So and the thing is, because they're only paying me like 120,000 yen like after tax, which in pounds is like,
it's like $1,200, that, isn't it? I know it basically works out like that. So that's like 900 quid, 1,000 quid.
Yeah. Yeah. And like my rent is,
but in London priced areas.
Yeah, like I was paying, well, still I'm 75,000 yen for my rent a month. So like that's fucking most of my rent done.
Yeah.
And so after doing that, yeah, basically after my boss is saying like, "Oh yeah, it'll be fine. It's like, well, no, you said that for like the last few months. So obviously it's bullshit. I then decided to go look for a new job, and then just like talk to a bunch of places, and got like an email from a company, a very sketchy company, just saying like, "Oh, do you want to work for Sega?" And I was like, "Yeah, it sounds kind of sketchy, but yeah, sure, why not?" And then did like a translation test and an interview, and they're like, "Oh yeah, they want to work with you." So I was like, "All right, cool." Took the job, and the people there working there are quite nice, but the job itself, fucking just bullshit. Like, not even really translation. It was just like data entry and just changing like using like previous like translation entries and like rearranging them to make more sense, like basically like to be relevant for like a new ticket for like a new event. Basically changed like the event name and the date, and like that was it.
Right.
And so because like that company had like a month probation period, and like then I got my contract renewed once, so I was there for 3 months, and then I was on then another contract.
1 month
So
probation. One
I think maybe
month
it was one.
contract. I've never heard of that. What?
So it was like, yeah, like 3 months. It was like 3 month contract. Like the very beginning is like very, very quick contracts, like 1 month contracts, and then it goes to like 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So I got into like my second like 3 month contract, but they never mentioned like any problem about like my like translation quality while I was like working there or anything. But like during this time, it's just going through like a rough period, and I didn't really want to like bring it up because I learned my lesson, like never to mention my fucking like mental health issues to anyone in this country. And like my fucking boss like works it out of me, and he's like, "Oh no, like he's like Australian guy. He is quite cool. He's like nice guy. He's like cool guy, but Australian guy who's just like, oh well, like I used to be like a mental health counselor."
And
So
like, this was whilst working at the company that again we're not naming, right? But could possibly be part of the stream's title.
Yeah. But he basically like squeezed it out of me, just like kind of I had like told him like what the issue was, and it's like, yeah, like kind of not going through like a good period right now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, it's okay, like just take enough time. And the thing is, like with the job, it's just like they basically demanded that you be fucking like glued to your computer all day. So like they'll send you like requests to do translation just fucking randomly, and like the thing is, like no one told me like I needed to be like confirming I was getting these like tickets. I was just doing them.
And this was like, now in the pandemic as well, of course. So yeah. If they wanted you glued to your computer in Japan, I suppose, we might joke about, being glued to a BlackBerry or glued to our phone or glued to a computer here in the UK, but I'm guessing there it might be a little bit more extreme.
I mean, like, so I got told off by the agent from my company. So like no one in my team or like no one from that company was being hired by. Like my fucking agent was saying like, and we weren't even like fucking like discussing like feedback. She was just having a chat, and like she was just like, oh, by the way, like what do you think about your response time at work? I was like, it's all right. Like I replied to everything within like at least 30 minutes, and like that's one of the latest I replied to something maybe an hour of the absolute outside, but like I get everything done within the day that's asked, and like everything's on time. I've never missed a deadline. I'm just like, oh well, I've heard from HR that like we're taking too long to respond to tickets. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, why are you telling me this, and why is it coming through the grapevine like this? It's such a weird way to give me feedback.
Is it because they're sending me things at midnight?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's so. I mean, like, so when it come to the end of the, at the fucking end of it, they like tell me, like, again, with zero fucking feedback between then and then, like then being told like, okay, your contract's not getting renewed. They're just like, yeah, you took too long to respond to stuff, blah 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 blah. And it's just like I talked to a friend who knows like game development and the fucking like the game industry, and he was like, well, I don't think it was that. I think it's because you had like an argument with like it was a game developer, and like with one of the devs, and like I think he probably like made it his mission to like.
So what occurred? Fuck your life up. What happened on that day?
So like, what is it? I mean, so occasionally they would like send us fucking requests like on Thursday night and Friday night and be like, oh yeah, it's due on Monday, it's due on Tuesday, good luck. By the way, it's like 10,000 characters. Huge fucking tickets. That's ridiculous. Like kind of, I mean, I've seen like fucking anime and like jokes about like Japanese companies, like where they're like the person in charge literally just dumps a fucking folder of work on your desk like right before you're about to leave and be like, yeah, see ya. But it was literally like that. And so like a lot of shit like that. And I mean, like this occasion wasn't exactly that, but like I was about to leave my house, and so like the time I was supposed to finish work.
Quickly, I was gonna say I've had that once in my life, which was that job at Old Mutual that I talked about and some other videos, but where I hadn't noticed that it was in the contract that we signed to agree to work overtime with no prior notice, blah 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 blah, all this sort of stuff. And it's because like they were in finance, so if somebody had a thing that needed to be processed that day and they'd deposited it at like 10 to 5, then it had to be processed. And the amount of times that literally like 5 minutes to 5, suddenly like 30 things would come in that needed processing that would take 2 hours. Yeah. So that's the only job where I've ever experienced that. But that's like, we're talking like £1 million transactions on average for that job. Not some fucking like inventory, some items in a video game getting translated. It's like, yeah. Why they do that, huh?
It's just, I mean, it's hard because it's like, this is like the culture in Japan where it's just like, even if you have nothing to do, you're expected to stay, like within a traditional company, you're expected to stay at your desk until the boss leaves or he tells you to come for a drink.
Really? Okay.
Which you have to like typically go to. Like now people are like eventually like are finally being able to say no to that, but like you, even if you have nothing to do, you basically have to look busy for like an extra 2 to 3 hours just doing nothing.
And then fucking pray that the boss doesn't want to drink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but like on this one occasion, this guy. So I was supposed to finish at like the quitting time was like 7:00, and I was about to leave my house, and I realized.
Wait, when was start time as well?
10 a.m.
Okay, not. Yeah, no, kind of horrific. Not 9 till 5. That 10 till 7. No.
And like that's kind of like a typical. In fact, like, you know, for me, 10 to 7, that's like probably like the shortest amount of like time we had to work in Japan. Like that's not so long actually. But what is it? So like I actually had like plans to meet people that day, and the people I was meeting, like they were about to leave Japan at that point. So like every chance I got to see them was kind of had to be quite, you know, it's something I had to kind of, you know, really like look forward to and really like kind of like to savor the time with. Like I couldn't be like, oh, okay, never mind, let's see you tomorrow instead, because they were quite busy as well. And so I was about to leave.
Plans, good plans for once. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I wasn't just bullshitting just to get out of doing work, which, to be fair, I have done in the past. But like, what is it?
Yeah, big load of dump work.
So like, yeah, basically like,
English
I realized like, oh fuck, I was literally about to like leave my house, and I realized like, oh fuck, I haven't signed out for the day. So I went to go sign out, and this is like 30 minutes after quitting time, and then like I had this like message from one of the devs, the guy that's a dickhead, and then he was just like, oh, like, are you still there? Like, it's a massive, like, it's an emergency. I need you to do this like right now. And I'm just like, fuck, like I'm about to leave my house. I have plans, but like I'll do it. And he's like, okay. And so I do like the one thing. And he's like, actually, can you do this thing as well? Like this other thing as well. I was like, dude, I have plans. I've just told you, like, I have shit to do. And he's like, oh, okay, well, don't worry about it then. It's like, well, no, if it's an emergency, I'm gonna fucking do it. So I did it. And he's like, okay, actually, can you like fix this other thing? Can you like go back and fix this other part of this ticket?
Really?
And I was like, I said to him, like, man, like the people I was supposed to meet have just cancelled on me. So like, let's just do the whole fucking thing. Like, I have nothing to do tonight. Like, I'm already like, I'm back working. Like, let's just do let's just do it now. I don't have to fucking deal with this tomorrow morning. And he was just like, oh no, let's just do it tomorrow. It's fine. Let's just do it tomorrow. It's like, you said it was an emergency though. Like you said, it needs to be dealt with like right now. And so he's like, no, it's fine.
Different
like,
opinion of what an emergency means, obviously.
Yeah. So like, it's like, why the fuck did you keep me here for an extra hour and a half when I should have been meeting people who I'm probably not going to be able to see again fucking asshole. So like, in the group chat, I just said to like, hey, I've been told like, please, like to tell you like, please don't do that. If it's really emergency, it's fine. I don't have to deal with it. But if it's not emergency, like please don't say it is. Like it's quite like.
Wait, you said
it's
that
quite
in
troubling.
a group chat?
Yeah, I mean, I messaged him personally, and I kind of said, I kind of just made it just clear to them, just like, please don't do that again. And because like I think like I think I said earlier, like I think because I said that, like I embarrassed him in front of like all these people. And so he like probably like went to like HR. So that's the thing, like instead of, because like what I was told was like, oh well, like you weren't fast enough, like oh your Japanese wasn't good enough. I think it was because like I embarrassed that guy in front of like his teammates. He like went out of his way to go to fucking HR and like fucking get me like, kicked off. Yeah.
If they were putting that much work
Fucking
on you,
asshole.
it's because you were doing well at the work, and then suddenly the moment you kick off, saying you've won a little bit less work and just have your hours respected. Oh no, I'd rather just have a cog. Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus. Would you like to reveal any other juicy details about what you were working on whilst at Nameless Company?
Yeah, so I had to do a lot of like internal documents and stuff. So I had to translate shit from basically like about the Chinese market. And just really, really kind of scary shit, just saying like how like when you're making games for the Chinese market, they need to go for like basically to please the Chinese government. They need to have like X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
They need to like they have these things in them, and they need to follow these rules. And I was just like, oh god. And I also had to translate like
what? I don't know any of these. What sort of rules?
Like they're written like very vaguely, but like it's kind of like, oh, it must uphold like what is it, like societal morals and shit.
Yeah, right. I get you. Yeah. Must uphold the family virtues. Yeah.
So no gay people in the games.
Yeah.
But fucking I also had to do like, so when the American branch of said company just like literally the day that they made a statement for Earth Day.
It's funny how similar old American and British censoring standards and what a lot of people in Britain and America want censoring standards to be more like. It's funny how similar they are to the Chinese, really.
But what this company, like on Earth Day, like so in America, in the American branch, they have their own like garden and stuff, and they were like posting about how like they planted like 100 trees in this garden, and they're like doing a bunch of stuff for Earth Day. And then like on the Japanese side, they were basically, they announced like they were going to go into like selling NFTs, which are like really fucking bad for the environment. And I had to like, yeah, like not for Earth Day, but like,
they just announced it.
Happened to be like,
yeah.
Oh, like literally like on the same time, because I mean these companies like are basically like under the same umbrella, but like they don't talk to each other. And so I had to like, and so say, I mean, this company got like a lot of shit on Twitter for announcing that they're going to sell NFTs of their consoles and games. And so I had to like, I was like reading like all this shit on Twitter, like all this like angry vitriol towards this company, while I was translating this fucking like document, like internal like press document explaining what they were going to do in English. While that was going down, and I was kind of like saying to my team, like, I don't really want to be like kind of. I'm not putting my name on this. Like, yeah.
No Itachi here, please. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is pretty funny. I was contemplating making and selling some NFTs for a bit, and then despite how easy it is, even my moral compass overruled. It's like, it's so easy. I'm an artist. I should jump on board it, but I'm just not gonna. Though every now and then I think like maybe just like capturing GIFs from like old 90s animes of like the backgrounds and the transition scenes. Those would do well. Those would sell. Fire idea. For anyone who wants to steal an easy money making idea that will definitely destroy the environment if it makes you money. Like either it will do nothing or it will make you money but destroy the environment slightly. So it's like, it's like a lose-lose option, really. Yeah, maybe this is why I haven't done it personally. So they literally. So how did they fire you? Because they couldn't have just fired you this time, despite the internal gossiping. So they make you go off sick again, or what occurred in the end?
So they they only tell you. There's a reason why I'm pretty fucking pissed about this whole situation. So so my visa's running out. Like my visa expires like next Friday. So not this Friday, but Friday next week. Jesus. And then they also told me, like, when I joined the agency, they were like, "Oh, don't worry about your visa. It's fine. It'll get renewed. You just have to wait like a month before it expires, and then we'll take care of it. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine." Which should have been a massive fucking red flag. I was super naive at the time. But basically, like, they send you like a copy of your contract in the post, and they give you a phone call saying like, "Okay, your thing's been renewed. Here's the deal. If anything's changed, then they tell you the details." But it was taking like longer than it did like the previous two times. So I was like, that's weird. And so like I kind of, on the day it was supposed to arrive, like the final day it was supposed to arrive, I like messaged one person I was working with, and I was like, "Do you know what's happening with this?" And they were like, "Have they not like called you yet?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "That's weird. She should have called you by now." And this person who is like the person who's like the contact between that company and my company, fucking useless. I've had to like message her constantly to just get like the most basic of shit out of her. She finally fucking calls me at like I think like 6, and just says, "Yeah, sorry, we're not going to renew your contract. So your contract's ending at October, like the beginning of October, end of September. So that's it, and then you can fuck off." And so I was like,
so contract ends at the time you need visa being renewed.
Yeah. Wow. I said to her, like, my visa's like running out, right? And she's like, "Yeah, well, it's too bad." It's just like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's a fucking lowball move, isn't it?
No. So now I'm kind of scrambling I have to go to immigration tomorrow morning, actually, to get fucking sort that out. But
Jesus. Good luck, man. What's that going to be like? How's that normally? Japanese immigration good? Bad?
I mean, I went there.
Do we have a UK embassy?
We do have embassy. Like, we've got an embassy over here, but like they do fuck all. They do nothing to help you. But what is it? I actually went there. Like, I went to immigration like 2 weeks ago to fuck, sorry, it's got another work email. I went there 2 weeks ago, basically just to be like, "Hey, this is my situation. I need help. My company is refusing to give me any kind of support. I need some."
And also, after 7 years in Japan, you're still on work visas. Don't they have like? Can you get dual citizenship by this point?
So the fucked up thing is in Japan, so you can naturalize after 5 years, and to do that, you basically just.
You carry on talking there?
Sorry. Basically, you only need to be there for 5 years, and as long as you can speak like primary school level Japanese, and don't have like a criminal record and some kind of employment, you can apply to become a Japanese citizen. But the thing is, in Japan, you can't have dual citizenship. So you have to actually discard your original nationality.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, so that's heavy though. What?
The funny thing is, it's like a lot of people, I have a lot of American friends who like have tried to do it. They've tried to like discard their like original passport, and like the American embassy just says no. Like, even if you have the money to do it, it costs like $2,000. it costs like $2,000 to
just
do
like,
that.
nah, you're staying a citizen, otherwise you're a traitor.
Yeah, pretty much. But then thing is, if you were born here, if you were born like half Japanese, and like they'd say like by the time you turn 18, they say like you need to if you're born here like with both Japanese and American or like whatever country citizenship, they say by the time you turn 18, you need to basically like give up one of the passports and choose one. But there's no law saying that you have to do that. So like a lot of my friends who are half Japanese have both their passports.
So they're not. So I guess so like if you did that as a Brit, the British government would see you as dual citizen. Most of the world would see you as dual citizen, but Japan will see you as Japanese. I guess you just have to pretend whilst you're there, just use a Japanese passport.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
like
surreal.
So the thing is, getting like actual permanent residency is a lot harder. I mean, they're equally as difficult, but it takes longer. So for that, you have to be here for 10 years on one visa, and but then you're basically still subject to this. So if you become like a citizen, you are effectively Japanese in the eyes of the law. So you can't get deported, and you can't get mistreated on your nationality as you would with any other. Basically, if you're like a foreign national staying here. But if you get the permanent residency, which basically like allows you to retain your original nationality, that doesn't give you any kind of protection from Japanese law at all. So like, if you fuck up, then you're still done. So it's not good. And the thing is, I've only been here for 7 years. I've been here for 10. I can't get that.
So close though, but
And,
yeah.
So yeah.
I see the difficulties. God almighty. Oh, you have a fun week ahead, don't you? Jesus.
Yeah. We've got 1 week left on the visa, and I basically need to go there tomorrow and fucking beg for forgiveness. I mean, I went there last week or 2 weeks ago and just tried to explain to them like, here is a situation, and my company refuses to give me documentation. Please just let me go on the fucking job hunting visa. I've been here for 7 fucking years. I'm not doing anything sketchy, and you know that. And the first guy I talked to was like, all right, fill in this like essay form and explain why, and then we'll sort it out. And I do that, spend 30 minutes writing this fucking form out, and then I go back to the thing, and it's like some of the guy I don't fucking know, like just some random other dude. And he's like, what's this? And I was like, I was told to fill this out. And he's like, oh. He doesn't even fucking look at it. And he was just like, oh, is it? I see. And I tried to explain to him the situation. He's like, yeah, if you don't have documentation, then can't do anything about it. Sorry, fuck off. And I was like, all right, cheers. And so, I mean, the fucking the cherry on the shit Sunday with me losing this contract is so my visa runs out on the 8th, and I mean, I've made it very fucking clear to the person I work with, the person who's like the PIC for me in the situation, like, I need this documentation like now, like as immediately, like you get it, I need it, because like I need that to go on work. You can get like a job seeking visa for 6 months. That's what I'm trying to go on now. So just trying to explain to her like I need this fucking immediately, like otherwise like my life is fucking over. And she's just kind of like very like, oh, okay, like really like this. I have to text her like 5 times to be like, I need a response like today. Because this is your job. Like
Literally.
And yeah, it's like and that really pissed me off. It's just like, yo, like I was sure I may have not been immediate to respond to shit, but like I was never this bad, and you get to keep your fucking job. But I eventually get her to tell me after spending like 2 days texting her saying like, when is this going to be, like when is the form saying I've lost the contract? Because you like they're legally required to give that to you in Japan. Like when you lose any kind of contract, they have to give you a thing saying it's ended and now it's done.
Yeah.
Which you can use as proof of unemployment to then go on one of the benefits you need to go on. I say to her like, I need this ASAP. When can you get this to me? And it takes her like 2.5-3 days to tell me, oh, it'll be with you maybe on the 7th, I guess. Like, I can't make any promises though. I was like, bitch, my fucking visa ends on the 8th, and you've known this for fucking 6 months. Like, so I had to get her to like write me an email saying like, okay, we're preparing it and it should be ready. So supposedly, like with immigration, if you have proof of that, like the documentation will be ready eventually, but it won't be ready in time. You can, if you print out like an email or like some kind of document, they can then allow you to then apply, and then they give you like an envelope, and then you send in the thing once you have it.
But also,
but it's still like,
what about things like, you know, you're renting an apartment? I assume you're not, you know, you don't own a property. You're renting a place. Like, do you not have a tenancy agreement on that? You know, is that not a fixed term? Is it not taking into account anything that's going on? Like, surely you have Japanese bank accounts and stuff.
No, they don't care about that. It's all they care about for the visa renewal is just employment. Because you can rent property in Japan even if you don't fucking live here. As long as you have the money, they don't care about that.
And if you become illegal for a week or two and then gain employment and then apply, what occurs in that situation?
You're fucked. Like,
you can't. They will just deport.
Yeah, because the second you overstay, then it's just like, okay, you've broken the law, and it's not even like an immediate deportation. Like, basically, you spend like a few months in jail. Ironically, you get to stay longer in Japan, and then
keep you there for a bit. But they won't. So, like, even if you know, so it's like it goes over the point by a couple of days, then you get a job, you reapply for the thing with job, it would still be big fuck you.
Probably, yeah. That's from what I've been told, yeah.
You can't like get onto a holiday visa at that point or something, just for a little bit.
Like, if it wasn't for Corona, I could have just done like I could have gone to like Korea for a week and then come back and got a tourist visa. But because of Corona, I can't do that. So
right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Good luck, man. Seriously. I think call it there for now. I need to do
I need
to get some food as well.
Yeah.
I need to get some food.
Yeah, I haven't eaten today actually, so I need to go to.
What time? It's your 8 hours ahead. We worked out, didn't we? 6 or 8. Did we work out your 6 or 8 hours? You're 8 hours ahead. 6 hours.
Yeah, it's about 4.
No,
it's like 4 o'clock right now.
Cool. Yeah, 8 hours ahead. 4 o'clock. Right. Yeah. If you've not eaten yet, go eat. I've eaten a bit, but I really need to eat more because I've been awake like 14 hours now. Holy shit. So I definitely need to eat.
Fucking hell.
Got a long day ahead. 8 a.m. Been awake 14 hours. What is my sleep pattern? But no, I'm trying to reset it. So you take it easy, man. That's mad shit.
You too, man. I'll let you crack on.
Yeah. Good luck with everything. In a bit.
See ya.
Oh. And that, everybody, was Andy. And the crazy time he's been having. And I'm going to call it there for now for the stream for the moment, but I might be back later. Got some bits I need to do. And this should be going up on YouTube. So, links in description. Like, comment, PayPal. Come join me on Twitch every single day for a number of hours here on Twitch. Except this is now going to be on YouTube. This is so confusing to me. I'll catch you in a bit. Peace.